Hey everybody, and welcome to TekFlow for Construction, brought to you by Zentek Consultants. TekFlow for Construction is a recurring videocast where we talk about the best tech practices and procedures that we've been implementing for Zentek clients, ones that we think everybody should be looking to include in their own workflows. I am Jim Coppinger, one of the principals here at Zentek Consultants, and on today's episode of TekFlow for Construction, I'm going to be focusing primarily on Bluebeam Studio. I know that in previous sessions, we've done a number of different programs and packages and things that you can do in the construction space for your TekFlow. But I think in terms of collaboration and communication, Bluebeam Studio, one of the most powerful, affordable, and probably underutilized features for really improving the way that your construction workflow processes go. And I've been talking about it for the last few episodes and probably got a few more of those to go before we get back to talking more agnostic. So for today, I want to talk about how do we notify offline users about edits, right? When we're working in the field and we're marking things up on our iPads or from the office or after hours or from an airport somewhere, it's great to be able to use Bluebeam to go in and make markups and edits and comments on important things going on your project. But if people aren't online and actively using a studio session with you, how do you let them know when changes have occurred? And that's really a very, very important communication function that all of us run up against in the construction world. I'm going to show you how easily a Bluebeam Studio session can actually handle that for you. All right, and what I've got going on here today is I've got a session running up here on my screen. And I just want to show you guys there are a couple of ways, right? You know, if you've used sessions before, you know that we can chat in real time, we can talk to people in real time, and we can, as everyone makes markups in a session, our markups automatically appear on everybody else's screen when they're online, right? But what happens if I come in here and it's a Wednesday afternoon and I have to make changes and the people who, I need to communicate those changes to are out on vacation or they're out on a different job, right? Or they're in a meeting all day. I need to make sure that they are made aware of the changes that I made. So let me show you that there are really kind of two really basic features that we can perform here that really make a big, big difference. The first thing is, if you go in, whatever it is you add, I'm just going to go ahead and add a simple tool here. I'll just call in a basic your revision bubble with a call out here for, I'm going to add a note. Add a note over here. There we go. So that's my markup. That's what I did. I need to make sure that certain people who are part of this studio session are aware of those changes, right? And you can see that over here on the side, I've got my attendees. This is a pretty simple session. Just got myself and Dan, who works here at Zentek. Dan is actually part of this session, but Dan's not online right now. He's off, making me lots of money somewhere. All right. So I want to make sure that Dan is aware of this. So there are two real easy ways that I can do this. I could, actually three, I guess. I could send him a chat, but then I have to wait until he logs in next time to see that that's coming up. But what I can do is I can just go in and I can right click on any markup that I create. And you see that I have the ability to alert other attendees about any markups or changes, whether they're mine or whether they were someone else's. A change that I want someone to be aware of, I can go in here and I can just choose the person I want to notify. In this case, I'm going to choose Dan, right? And I'm just going to hit OK. Now what happens is that Dan automatically gets two levels of warning. Number one, he just got sent an email. An email is going to appear in Dan's mailbox saying, hey, right, Jim made some changes, he added some notes, and he wanted you to be aware of them. And there's going to be a link in that email. When he clicks on it, it's going to take him right to this session, right to this page, and right to this markup so that he knows exactly what I'm talking about. Right? And that's great. I didn't have to do anything other than right click and send it to him. And I could have sent that to multiple people if I wanted to, do dozens of people all at once. I also have the ability in here, if I needed to add more than just that, maybe there was an explanation that kind of goes behind that, right? I really want to now tell Dan, hey, I made these changes. This area needs to be, reviewed and resolved because of a major, feedback we got from the client, etc. I can just go right over here and I can just right click on Dan's name. And you see that I can just email him at any point. I can just go ahead and email Dan, and I can right from inside here, right, I can tie and link the email directly to this particular file and tell him what's going on, where the changes were, what's occurred. And what's really nice about this is that this works really well. And one of the ways that I really strongly recommend everybody in the construction industry work with Bluebeam Studio Sessions. I know the flashy great thing, and I've talked about this in other presentations here in the TekFlow for Construction. The flashy thing is that, oh, we can all share and work and collaborate in real time. And it's a great thing, okay? But what's even more important is that we can start a studio session and we can leave it run throughout the life cycle of the job, right? And then as we're making these changes and these edits, we have this central communication location where everything we've ever done is being tracked and modified, even to the point that I sent emails and alerted Dan, right? And one other thing I did want to point out here is just kind of a nice follow-up. If by any chance, by some chance, Dan didn't get my email, I got caught in his spam filter or whatever, it doesn't matter, because he's also going to get pushed on his studio session the next time that he's logging in, not even just on this session, but when he logs into Bluebeam, he's going to get a notification, right? That's also going to appear over here. Now, I don't have a notification, but on his session, there's going to be a notification that I asked him to review this particular markup with a link, right? So there are like 3 or 4 ways that Bluebeam Studio Sessions are going to notify people about any changes, any modifications that I make. And my absolute favorite way of doing that is just, like I said, right-clicking, right? Alert the attendee, pick the attendee that you want. I can choose others. I can send to multiples, right? And it's a really, really simple and effective way, all right, to handle one of the biggest communication issues that we all seem to have, making sure that everybody's on the same page the moment that changes need to be made, right? And that, like I said, is the kind of thing we try to focus on here in TekFlow for Constructions, ways to work with the tools that you already have in a better manner to make you more productive. And this is the kind of work that we focus on here at ZenTek. So there you go, folks. That's your input for TekFlow for Construction this time, and I'll catch you in the next episode.